Okay, hold on. You might have your zone loading. So one of the things that you guys missed that I was telling Dionne is sometimes the editor likes to sit in the background and hog up your CPU all of a sudden. And that's what had happened, and that's why the stream died. So this should be your zone. Let's put it on the big window. Yep.
Oh.
So no, this is my zone.
Wait, yeah. My zone is not that pretty.
I thought I just loaded in my zone. Why so oh, I've still got your wrong one in there. Lot of asserts. Alright. So this will take a sec as it loads in. So there's your area.
That's cool. Is it the pine tree?
Yeah, so this is the thing that George needs to fix so that we properly draw double-sided faces.
Oh, right.
So what's happening is they're drawing the skylighting on the underside of them. And like in this case, this face is flipped.
Right.
So its face normals and its vertices are probably facing down, and because we've told it to flip, it's backwards, so it's getting the light from the sky. That was one of the things that we figured out. We're like, wait, that's not right. So if I actually go into this tree and I dupe all the faces and I flip all their vertex normals to be opposite of the other side, it'll look fine.
Right. Right
So,
now it looks like it's been snowed on.
Yeah. But if you look at it from the top, you see how it looks fine?
Yeah, it looks fine.
And the issue is when you look at it from underneath, it's basically getting lit from the sky
Right.
instead of the ground. So, and since I have no server on, it's not controlling my speed or anything. So if I just tap shift, I get a big sprint.
Speed.
So this is like when, you know, like let's say you kind of liked some of this, right? Then you'd this is where a lot of time gets spent, is kind of fine tuning and bringing these things together, like making these blends better between the materials. Like this is very brown, this is very gray. You'd start kind of trying to blend some of these things together, right? You might want to decide on like, oh, the black rock just totally stands out. Obviously, it should be gray rocks in here, like these over here. And these guys are, you notice how they're all straight? That's because they're not set to align with terrain. And she's going slower as she goes through this because as she goes up and down the terrain, her speed will change. So this, I mean, like, you could actually set this up as like the beginnings of like an alpine kind of piney, open, rocky forest thing. And you can see like how I'm drawing. You see I'm drawing these grass cards way out here. That's because we never put a size select on them.
Right.
So they're just drawing out as far as they want.
Yeah, which is not
Yeah,
good.
when we imported the grass, we set it as LOD 012, and by default it's like 50, 150, infinity. So what you would do is put those on like a size select.
We don't want to spawn them in the far back, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's pointless. That's bad. But the other thing we also like for the rock, let's say, you could also put a thing on there that says don't spawn on certain angles. You know, you could say just spawn on the ground. I'm sorry, on flat. I'll give you the nice mood lighting.
Oh yeah, it's pretty.
So, like I think these guys, speculars and roughness, I don't know, we need to reevaluate those because they're too hot. But you can see that with the new lighting, we get variation in the ground here, where you get hot spots on the pine material versus the dirt material, and we get a more gloss where the pine is versus where the dirt is. So all of these things we can just keep fine-tuning to our artistic heart's content. And you can see, I'm guessing, I think you did this. This is hotter. the green part's hotter than the dirt part.
So it turns on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just fixed this. I think on Monday, last Monday.
So yeah, we put this together very quickly. Now, if you wanted to, you could go in and be like, I'm going to put. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so pretend this was live and players were running around in here. And we had a problem and we were like, oh god, there needs to be a rock right there, right?
Right.
So let's hope this turns out to be a good example and doesn't do anything funky.
Does it real-time update?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Cool.
Trying to think if it'll work on this zone. So we'll go to the world editor. Go to your zone. And I have no clue where I am, so we'll just stick a big thing in the world. Go down to model, and we'll look for rock. We'll put one of these big rocks in. Now, right now, like I said, there's no placement tools that really help you do this. And I think maybe this one's missing its texture. But we go drag this down over here. And then I will scale him up, right? If I hit save, we should see an update over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly my character so that she doesn't fall through the ground. If that sometimes happens when the terrain updates. And I think like right where we are is where this rock should spawn when it receives the update. The update does take a moment. It kind of makes a full round trip. It has to build. There it goes.
Oh.
So there's the rock
Oh,
without a
that's
texture.
Cool.
So the cool thing is like, I mean, I've worked on projects where not only just doing these edits and seeing in the game was a 15-minute affair,
Right.
and then you'd have to go fly over, it would reload the entire level or zone, and you'd have to go find, the one thing you changed. But we're doing this on the fly, so
Nice.
that's it, fixed, done. Rock has been added. Check off the bug.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's very convenient.
Now, granted, we've obviously created a new bug in that this has no texture on it. So yeah. And you can go in and move things around. And now the one thing you can't do yet is edit pieces from the mod.
What do you mean?
So I've spawned these trees procedurally.
Right.
I can't go into the editor and grab them and move them.
Okay.
So that's kind of like phase 2. This is still in its infancy. The other thing that we need to add in, none of this is necessary right now, is the ability to take a rock and give it a bunch of tags and assignments of like what it should do if placed in it. So what would be really cool is if I placed this rock and it said, put rocky gravel terrain around me and spawn lots of little boulders.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the idea is to put other values into an asset so that when they are placed in the world, they do other things to the world.
Okay.
But that's not right now.
Right. Oh, but that'd be cool.
So yeah, that's your world. And if I went in here to the so if I float this, drag him over, and we'll go to the terrain mod.
It looks very different in the editor and the
Oh yeah.
Like,
And let's say we wanted to make it less hilly, right? So I'll save that, redraws it in the editor, and in a moment here, this will all flatten out.
Right, but you can't change where your pine trees are.
Wait, I forgot to hit the save button. Yeah, well, like I said, I can't go in here and move the procedurally placed ones.
Okay, yeah, but you can change the ones where you...
Yes, this one has been added to the scene.
Right, okay.
So in a moment, this should all flatten out, and this rock will probably be floating. Oh, it froze or something. Crashed it. Nope. Client.
I think the stream died at the same time it was supposed to stop streaming.
Yeah, were you stopping or?
No. Multi-write extension. I don't know what that is. It's taking up a lot of the CPU. Anyway, for those of you listening, once again, I've got too many things going on my computer and it slowed everything down. Paused the stream or stopped the stream. Is it just stopped?
When I was about to worship the mighty platform.
All right, we seem to be back. Yeah, we've been back. So I had too many things going on all at once. Yeah, I've actually, usually I have like Maya, XSplit. Actually, OBS was killing me. The client, the editor. I've got a bunch of other things. I've got Photoshop with a whole bunch of stuff on it. So anyway, let's take this off of that. So anyway, that's a rough course on the editor, and my hope here, which I'm sure Dionne can do, is she can actually just start making her own biomes. So instead, she's been helping me out and making a lot of stuff. So now it'll be like, okay, make the swampy area or the desert or whatever, and we'll kind of come up with a bunch of assets that need to be built. We'll either do that in-house, we'll outsource it, whatever, and we'll basically put together that, and she can just go from start to finish.
Yeah. I want to learn how to use that thing.
So what I would suggest you do is either play with this, or maybe just clone this and recreate it yourself, because then you can kind of see it step by step as it happens and get an idea of what you're doing. The other thing you can do is go into the ones that I've made. If you just click terrain mod and go to the bottom, all the recent ones are there. So the pine tree, the grassland stuff are all down there. And just don't go in and rejigger them. If you want to mess with them, just make a copy of it.
Okay.
And just say like Dionne copy test, something like that.
Right.
And then you can play with the values in there to see what happens. You can also unlink things down the chain to, remove some stuff so you can see exactly what little bits of it are doing.
Right. Okay.
The other thing is if it ever has a weight in it, so like these things that have weights, you can also just set those to 0 and then whatever's down the chain won't happen.
Okay. Yeah.
So why don't you actually tonight play with this a little bit, stop with the material stuff, because I want you, while you're thinking about it, to play with it some more, because if we wait a couple of days, you'll be like, what was that thing I was learning about?
And then I'll go back to the video.
Oh yeah, there's technically a saved video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off, and let's see. Actually, it's not RAM that's choking me. It's CPU. The editor's fairly intensive. It actually hasn't had much of a optimization pass. Usually, in any game production I've been in, there's always lots of stuff you want for the tools, but making the game is always the first thing that needs to happen. So a lot of these little nuances, as long as we can work with it and get what we need made, we're good. There are things with the terrain editor that we still need to fix, or I'm sorry, add new functionality to. There's things I want to do. There's like more plateauing of things, more height control. As I said earlier, objects have a knowledge of themselves, things like that. But in the meantime, this infant is doing a great job creating a lot of things, and we're still playing with it. All right, I will talk to you guys later. I think all my stuff's tomorrow. I've got the Tidings with Tyler tomorrow, I think, followed by John streaming, and then later on in the evening I'm just going to be doing art, world building in general. So thanks for hanging out, and talk to you later. As I go find this thing to close.